welcome back to the channel. I don't know what's going on. I was recording a video and it just like cut off. Anyway, welcome back. And we are going to do a drill with me and we're just going to chat and let it go from there. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I usually have a notepad and that I write down what's been going on over the past week, and this week I didn't do that. So just bear with me. So I'm still working on my Queen of the Leopards. I know I'm slow. It's one of those things. I don't know why, but I've been taking my time, and then there are days that I just don't feel like doing anything and doing any diamond painting or any cross stitching or whatever. So it's not because I haven't felt well. I excuse me. I say that it's because I haven't felt like it. It's not that. There's days that I have set aside for uh schooling for them, which they do. The boys do their schooling every day for a certain amount of time, and then there are days that I do stuff around the house, clean, whatever, and I just haven't really felt like doing anything. And because I'm like so tired afterwards, and oh my gosh. So, but I'm still working on this. As you can see, I'm almost done with this section, and then I move on to this section. I'm I'm on the third row from the bottom, so I know I should be done with this by now. I'm trying, trust me. So, let's see what's been going on this week. I hope everyone is doing well. I and staying safe and healthy and so forth. I haven't really been watching the news. I kind of shut myself off from that because I got tired of basically hearing the same thing over and over again, if that makes any sense. It seemed like every time I turned the TV on, it was always the same thing, the same whatever. And I just got to a point where I didn't want to hear it. And not that I'm putting down this, saying I don't want to hear about it, hear about the virus. It's just like that everybody's saying the same thing over and over, and instead of making the same statement, they are wording it a different way, and it's getting to a point I'm just tired of hearing it. And I just it's getting depressing. And except for this morning when I turned on the news and they were talking about how there are some states that have started uh, opening up businesses and letting those businesses start up, like the hair salons and places like that. And my thing on that is, I get it, but then again, this disease or whatever it is still running rampant, I guess is the word I want to use, all over. And to me, in my opinion, it's still not really entirely safe to be out and about. I haven't gone out. Not that I'm scared, it's just I haven't gone out because number one, I don't want to be sick. Number two, I don't want to be sitting in a hospital for 2 or 3 weeks because of this mess. And my kids haven't really gone out. And except for my daughter Miranda. She has a mask, and so does Justin. But they don't go out every single day. They go out certain times, certain days when they need to or whatever. But I I just don't go anywhere. Not because I don't want to, trust me. I mean, I would love to go back out. Skylar would love to go outside and play. Today he can't because it's raining, but we would love to go. He would love to go outside and play and get out of the house. And it's just not. And he's gotten to. I mean, he's even told me, "Mommy, I want to go outside," but then again, you know, I don't. So it's one of those, you weigh it on your hand. So we're just kind of staying here, doing our schooling. They're getting the boys are getting pretty good with it. We do an hour or two a day, and I haven't really done a whole lot of crafts because of the simple fact that we by the time we get done with the schooling, with their schoolwork, then I go and do what I need to do around the house, straighten up, whatever, and then it's like I just don't feel like doing anything. Excuse me. And today's a jury day today, so after Skylar does his work this morning, I'm just gonna plant myself and cross stitch and binge watch Supernatural. Not Supernatural. Good grief. Star Trek Voyager. That's one of my favorite shows that I like. And that's basically all that's going to be done today because it's raining. I was going to chance trying to take him outside because they basically told everybody here or all over, don't go outside unless you have a mask, blah, blah, blah. And I was going to take him out, but number one, I don't have a mask. Number two, it's raining and I'm just not feeling it today. So it's just, yeah. So that's basically and it's been like this almost all week. We've just been kind of spending time with each other, spending time with the kids. Justin and I watched, last week, Justin and I watched Supergirl. And I'm not one of those ones that likes to watch those kind of things. I don't like DC comic TV shows. I can't. Now, why I started watching it, I guess because number one, we're here in this house and okay. But it was, he and I sat there and watched it and we spent some time together and he tried to give me spoiler alerts and I told him, I said, dude, don't tell me everything. So I watched all but the current season. So that, you know, that was that. And then I watched um a couple movies yesterday. I watched one, gosh, what was it called? I forget the name of it. I forget the name of it. Oh, it's called Battle Drone. And gosh, who was in it? It had Louis Mandalore and It was pretty good. It's kind of weird because he's this retired captain or something from the military, and he does um basically he's a mercenary in the movie. And he does, work that nobody else wants to do, so forth. And so he was hired to do this job. And of course, basically they ended up having to fight uh these battle drones. And I was just like, okay, this is just, and at first I thought it was a stupid show, or a stupid uh movie, but it was pretty good. And I, of course, then I found another one of his movies, and I can't remember what it was called. And he was a cop in Albania, and he had to take down um, Armando Sante, and because he was the bad guy, and it was pretty good. I, you know, thought that was a good movie, and then I finally ended up watching Chris Hemsworth's new movie. I couldn't get into that movie, and um, it wasn't because I don't like Chris Hemsworth. It was just I got confused. He's supposed to be extracting this kid from this, I guess, drug lord. And anyway, I'm I get to me it didn't make any sense. And I was confused because, one person who it, it was just all over the place. And I mean, it was good. It had a lot of action in it, but I just got really, really confused. And I tried to follow along with it, and it all revolves around this kid. And it seems like everybody wants this kid, and everybody's fighting for over this kid and fighting for this kid and killing each other. And it just, to me, it just didn't, I was confused. So I just, not saying I won't ever watch it again, but it really, to me, did not make a whole lot of sense. But that's just me. So it it was kind of sad because I I mean, it was a heart touch. I mean, it was a really touching um story also, but it was just I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it's, like I said, it's something that I probably would watch again eventually, but I don't think I would, watch it again 3 or 4 times in one sitting. It just, I guess because I'm used to him being, Thor and Avengers and all that stuff. But it was pretty good. And then I was thinking, what was else did I watch? I can't remember. There was another one I watched, and I can't remember what it was. But I can't remember. Gosh, I forgot. This is bad. I don't think I watched a whole bunch of movies yesterday, and I just don't remember all of their names. I then I started watching Star Trek, and I'm on think I'm still on the first season. And I didn't really like the first season of Star Trek Voyager just because it, I mean, I know it was telling you, it was going through how they came to be stuck in an uncharted, you know, part of space and so forth. But to me, that first season was just kind of, I just couldn't get it. I just, so usually when I do watch it, I skip to the second season. But this, this time I started watching the first season. So it was, and the ones I don't really like, I just leave it on and didn't really pay much attention. Yesterday I did stitch a little and just kind of zoned out on the episodes I didn't like and stitched. So, because that first season had a lot of episodes that just weren't the greatest. And I just left it alone. Just let it play. Because usually I'll skip over episodes I don't like. And I thought, you know what? That's kind of stupid. You're supposed to be binge watching this, and you're not really, you know, binge watching it if you're skipping episodes. So I'm not going to do that. But other than that, I'm making a schedule change. Just so you know, I'm only going to do videos starting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Um, I it's a whole new thing with my, learning how to plan and stuff. And I'm going to, you know, I used to do videos every single day, but now that I've started doing, planning out my weekend stuff and all that kind of stuff, I'm trying to I was trying to get a pretty good schedule, especially with the boys homeschooling and so forth. And finally, I decided to cut my videos down to 4 days a week, except for my live, which will stay on Sunday. And then I will do my videos 4 days a week. Just because it's easier for me now. When they go back to school, whenever they go back to school, then, it could change. I don't know yet. Right now, we're just kind of operating on the assumption that, the kids won't go back to school this year. And I just felt that I needed to um, cut my videos back from, 5 days a week down to the 3 or 4. And I do apologize, but it's just easier for me. And right now it's working out, so we'll see. I have not done a floss tube video. I am sorry. I just haven't really had time. Well, no, I can't say that. I've just gotten to a point where I'm beginning to feel like, okay, only because I work on big projects from heaven and earth and so forth. I feel like because I don't have finishes or working on anything smaller, nobody wants to watch. And there for a while, I was thinking, okay, I'm just going to stop doing floss tube, stick with my diamond painting. But I'm not. I'm not the only one that's been feeling this way. And I'm not. So I'm going to keep it up. I just like doing it. I mean, I like my Floss Tube videos. Don't get me wrong. But, excuse me, I just felt like, you know, nobody wanted to watch because, I was doing these big, huge projects. So, but I'm going to do a video this week on FlossTube, and that'll be back up and running. Trying to think what else has been going on, guys, because if I feel like I tell y'all the same thing over and over every week. Um, hmm. Let's see. Oh, I finally got all of Justin's teachers to email me or call me back, um, except for two. And I I explained to them my issue that I was having, and they apologized and told me, gave me all their information on how to send um, the schoolwork to them, and also how to um, get in touch with them. And I'm kind of upset because not all of his teachers have answered me, all but two. And I'm kind of like, I it it's really, really hard when the schools don't have any kind of communication with anybody, or they don't make the effort. And it's it's crazy, but I have to give uh, his science teacher big, big kudos, because she's the one that let all of his teachers know that I was trying to get in contact with them. And, all but two have contacted me. And at least now we know how to turn his stuff in. Yeah, and I'm not saying I didn't know. I just didn't have their emails to turn any of the work in, like I do with Sky. And they, aren't on Google Classroom like little dude is. So it was stressful trying to figure all this out. And finally, uh excuse me, finally they've told me, what, let me know, sent me their email. So we sent all of his work, took pictures of all of his work yesterday, and I sent it all to his teachers yesterday. And we will go from there. And then we found out that um, his principal, every week they make a phone call. Um, it's called a parent link phone call, and every week both schools, both Skylar's and Justin's school, uh, call at the beginning of the week to tell us what's going on during the week, and all the news and so forth. And yesterday she did a parent link phone call telling us that graduation is May 30th, and they're going to figure out what how they're going to do the graduation. And I told Justin, I said, you better hope you graduate, boy, because I'm not suffering through another year with you. And he wants to graduate. So he's ready to get out of high school big time, which can't say I blame him. So he's, now that, we've got the whole classwork debacle fixed and know what we're doing now, he's been busting his butt. And he, yesterday he looked at me. I gave him his work and I said, get it done. Of course he looks at me, he says, good God, they really do know how to just like throw work at us. Mind you, the packet was thick, big. I mean, this wasn't just one subject. There was like 4 subjects there. And he just looks at me and he's like, good God, Mom, are they trying to kill me? So I don't know. Don't ask me. Don't know. I said, just do what you can and I'll take, I'll take screenshots of the completed work and fill it, send it in. And of course, he's working on, in modern history, he's working on World War One. And I think I said this last week. He was doing a unit about the causes of what caused World War One. And I started laughing. I was like, oh my gosh. He's like, what? And I said, and he kept asking me. Now, mind you, it says in the article, but the way that they have it in the article, it's not, I was confused. And of course, he looks at me and he says, well, I thought it was the Nazis, the Germans. And I was like, no, that's World War II. So he and I were both confused because, like him, I did too. And he had a table, like a little, I guess, what you call it, that he had to fill out. And he looks at me and he's like, this is crazy. And I said, why? And he says, because he says, I don't know what caused this. And of course, it doesn't really tell you. You have to sit there, and I had to read the article like 4 times before I could even tell him what one of the causes was. And I just looked at him and I said, okay. And I said, do you work on units like this? Do one whole unit and, he's like, Mom, you just don't know. And he came back here because I have all of his schoolwork over here on my desk. And he came back here and he pulled out the next packet because he would rather do the work on paper. And he pulled the next, modern history packet out, and he's like, this is next. And I was like, I looked at him. I'm telling you, this thing was like this thick of just one subject, of one thing. I was like, holy crap. Okay. And it's been interesting learning stuff that I didn't even know. So, yeah. And of course, science, I'm not good with science. I'm going to tell you now. I am not a sciencey person. And of course, his science teacher was telling me, he's very intelligent. He knows what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. I just sat there and I was like, mm-hmm. And his geometry teacher was telling me the same thing. And I told her, I said, well, his issue is that he's very, very smart, intelligent, but he gets bored to a point that, he just doesn't care. And I said, and that's, my problem. I'm worried because he gets like that, and then it's like, okay, um, excuse me. So and he's been getting like that here. He's been getting to the point where he's been getting really, 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 bored with the whole thing, basically. And I told him, I said, well, I just need you to do it. I said, I know it's boring. I get it. And he's like, well, Mom, we already went over all this stuff in school. And I said, well, just, just complete the work, and, you won't have to look at it again. And his phys ed, they're not really giving him exercises, but he has to do a whole bunch of stuff, like take his pulse, do his heart rate. And he looks at me and he's like, how the heck? And even after reading the instructions on what to do, he looked at me and says, I have no clue. And I told him, I said, well, what does it tell you to do? And of course, I don't, I'm not one of these ones that knows how to take a heart rate either. So that's just not in my cards whatsoever. And he just looked at me. He's like, I said, do you understand the instructions? I mean, they give you instructions. There were step-by-step instructions. Don't get me wrong. And I just looked at him and I said, okay. I said, do you know what to do? And he just looks at me and he's like, no. So I said, okay. And so today he and I are going to work on that, because we're going to learn that together, because that's going to be interesting. And he thought that was just, he's like, what's the point? Why do we have to learn this for phys ed? And I said, because that's part of, you know, physical education. And of course, he just looks at me like, really? I said, yep, you got to learn it, bud. It's part of the curriculum. And of course, he just looks at me like, yeah, okay. But yeah, we're gonna learn it. We're gonna figure it out. I may not know how to do it, but I'll learn it with him. That way, he doesn't feel so bad. Because I don't want him to feel like he doesn't know. He's like, well, I'm not going to need this anytime soon. I'm not going to be using it in life. And I said, well, you never know when you're going to use it. That's the thing. I said, you could decide to become a nurse. And of course, the look on his face that I got was priceless, because he just looked at me like, oh, what? So he's just, and I think he's up in the air about what he wants to do with his life um, after high school and all this mess going on now. It's kind of, I think it's kind of messing with him, and he's kind of, I don't want to say he's depressed, but he's been uh having some issues lately anyway. And I, I I told him, I said, don't let these issues bother you. I said, worry about yourself, worry about, you know, getting your schoolwork done, worry about, what you want to do after you graduate, so forth. And of course, he looks at me and says, do you really think I'm going to graduate? And I said, I'm going to be positive about it because, either way, I'm not dealing with getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning every morning and still, waiting until, having to come to you every 10 minutes to make you get up. I just can't. And so I told him, I said, you really need to sit down and figure out what you want to do with your life after you graduate and go from there. And he, he's like, I don't know. I was like, well, I know, being home, all this time is really screwing with your head, and I get it. And it's it's a lot. I totally get it. It's a lot. This, I was talking to one of his teachers the other day, and she and I were agreeing with it. I used to work for the Board of Ed too, and she and I were talking about, how this is a first all over the country, a first for, to be shut down like this. And, she said, this is just, she said, it's crazy. And I told her, I said, yeah, I'm trying to figure out life in general, period, because, you never know. And I know I said I don't watch the news. Maybe I should, just so, we know what's going on. And if, things are going to get worse, better, whatever, that way, I don't know. And it's been, I don't want to say stressful, but it's been a learning experience, especially here. My kids, I had my oldest daughter wanted me to homeschool her long time ago, and we tried, just never could get into any kind of um schedule or anything like that. And of course, we would go at each other's throats like cats and dogs. And I never really did the homeschool with my kids. And I could have done with Miranda, but she didn't want to do it that way. She wanted to uh, do it on her own, which I can totally understand. And in a way, I like teaching the kids at home. But then again, it's a whole new ball game for me because I'm still, you know, learning all this. It's crazy. I'm telling you. I'm still, you would think, right, that even though we've been out of school for 2 months, that I would kind of have some kind of idea of everything. And I mean, it's like and yeah, it's a learning experience. But oh my gosh, it's been interesting. I mean, there are days that, I let the kids, I tell Skylar, I don't expect you to do schoolwork today. and we can do it, tomorrow. And that's just because he's getting to a point too. He just doesn't, he didn't want to do it. And he gets irritable. So it's been a learning experience. But I'm enjoying it. It's crazy, but I enjoy it. So if that makes any freaking sense at all whatsoever, I know it doesn't to me. Maybe it's my weird warped mind. Who knows? But yeah, it's been fun, and I get to watch him. I get to sit with him while he does his 20 minutes of reading every day, and I help him with his writing. We're trying to make him. I'm trying to get him to write a little neater because oh my gosh, I was looking at some of his handwriting the other day, and I looked at him and I said, "How the heck does your teacher know how or what you're saying?" And he just looks at me like, "I don't know. I'm glad she knows because I can't understand a word of it." I'm serious. I looked at his handwriting and I was like, "Holy!" And my son Justin's the same way. Here is Justin's writing. That's Justin. I don't understand a word. Okay, I don't really. Now his teachers, Skylar's the same way. Okay, whatever. And I looked at both of them and I'm like, okay, I'm glad you know what the heck you're doing because, yeah, I don't, I have no clue. I really don't. And of course, well, they know what I'm saying. They know what I'm writing about, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, I'm glad they know because I sure as heck don't. And I am totally, confused. And they're like, well, I know what it is. I'm like, okay. Well, if you know what it is, I'm glad you do because, okay. And I've even asked both of them, do your teachers know what you're writing about? And first, Justin's like, I don't know. Obviously they do if they're grading my papers. Okay. Well, okay. And I told him, I said, if you were in my class, there'd be no way that I could understand what you're writing, and I'd probably make you write it all over again. And he says, well, they did that once. And when they realized that my writing was because of my ADHD, they left it alone. Okay. Okay. I don't ask. Believe me, I don't ask. So that, and I don't try, and I know, every parent's going to want to work on their kids' handwriting. I do, but to be truthful, it's probably a lost cause. Um, just because I've learned that, you know, not all people are have handwriting that's legible. I mean, doctors don't. I can't understand half the things that, doctors write, but I get it. I mean, I totally get it. So, I'm not even going to try to push making them write legible because that would just be a total waste of my time. So, I'm almost done with this section, and I'm trying to wait until this section is done before I end the video because I don't want to end the video and it be, you know, let's see what else has been going on. I finished reading The Stone Monkey. by Jeffrey Deaver, and that was a pretty good book. I'm getting ready. I've got to look on my phone because I've been listening to it. So and I've got to look and see what the next one is that's after that one. And I've gotten into them just because of the TV show, if that makes any sense. I like the TV show, the Lincoln Rhyme TV show. So I've got kind of gotten into that that series that he wrote, Jeffrey Deaver wrote about. So I have to go in and see what the next one is. I can't remember. I want to say it's The Vanished Man, but I can't remember. But it's pretty good. I wasn't particularly into it. I mean, the first like 15 minutes of it was kind of one of those things where you're like, do I really, 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 really want to listen to this? Because it didn't sound, it sounded boring at first. And I thought, I really don't want to listen to this because it sounds really boring and I'm just not into this. But it's pretty good. So, and let's see what else. I've been trying to find some more TV shows and so forth to watch on Netflix. And I'm out. You guys can tell me. Maybe you guys can tell me. Is Midsummer Murders still on Netflix? I've used to love that show. I tried looking for it yesterday, and I didn't see it. Maybe I'm not searching the right way or whatever. If it is, please let me know because I love that show. That was one of my favorite shows, and I'm wanting to watch it again, and I can't find it. So if you guys have if you guys know where it is on Netflix, please let me know because I want to watch it again. Because that was one of my favorite uh shows to uh watch and cross stitch to, and I want to watch it again. I like Sherlock. That's my favorite. So I have that. I just can't find Midsummer Murders. That's, you know, I'm hoping I can find it. And I'm almost done this section. Yay. But yeah, if anybody has any other shows they recommend, that's pretty good. Please comment below because I've been trying to find some shows to watch and on Netflix. I have a whole bunch on Hulu, but I've watched those so many times it's not funny. And I'm ready for a change. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. And I hope everyone has a great week. And I will see everyone next time. And be safe, and I will see you all next time.